this meeting.
Okay, Saka, you got that. Everything that he said, make sure it becomes a part of the official minutes of this meeting. Okay? And we
Hey, y'all, let me just add something for the next time we have to vote. If you look where it says reactions, down in the bottom right of your Zoom screen, you can click on that and do a thumbs up sign, and that maybe the next time we have to vote, you can do the thumbs up if you're in favor, and then there's like a wave.
In the chat,
and you can.
in the chat section.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's cool.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Got a couple of announcements. On tomorrow afternoon at 7 o'clock, the community is having a parade for the graduating seniors. It will start at Byron and end back here at Peach County High School. It starts at 7 o'clock. And they are asking that people line the sides of the roadway and whatever you can do with balloons and signs and that kind of stuff in order to do a great hoopla for our graduating seniors. That would be Byron involved as well as the city of Fort Valley. And so that begins, the lineup is at 7 o'clock, parade starts at 7:30, and it will end at Peach County High football field, but no, Peach County High student parking lot. They say it will end right there, and they are asking whoever attends to remain in your cars. There will be a DJ there with a lot of stuff that's going on for that ceremony, and somebody will be there to kind of instruct you about the distance parking and that kind of thing. Let's show our seniors that we are thinking of them. Now, it is announced that there will be a real graduation later on during the summer. And then Fort Valley State will have theirs on August the 8th. I think that's the time that they gave us, August the 8th, for that. And so now, during this time of special recognition, I didn't get any employees of the month recommended, but this time last year when we had seniors that graduated and their parents worked for us with the city, we gave them a small monetary token. We have Michaela Oates, who is the daughter of Melvin Oates. We have Lana Wright, who is the daughter of Sacagawea Wright. We have Tashawn Nelson and Zaquavia Nelson. Those are two boys who are the sons of Clezzy Nelson III. So we have four graduating seniors that we want to recognize. And since we are not doing it face-to-face, we have Soccer has gone beyond and got us some certificates for us that's framed, and they will each receive a $25 check. So we want to applaud those seniors for that. We don't want it to be less than what it would be if it was right here. Okay, that's all I had in the line of announcements. Now, a person to address council, I hope we hadn't lost him. That was Mr. Clinton Mitchell. Is he still there? Mr. Mitchell, you still there?
Was he the one in the truck?
Right. That's a so we may have lost him. But what I will mention is what he was coming before the mayor about. There is a property right next to his property. I think it may be two parcels that he wanted us to consider. He wanted to buy those two properties. Now, I took that to our attorney, and what we have to do is declare those parcels. We have to declare them surplus first, and let him, he may be the only one that want to bid on it, but let him go through the process of bidding on it. That's what the law says, and we will move with that. Now, William has a copy of the parcels.
Now, William.
Sir?
I'm in order.
Okay.
I move that we take the advice of the attorney and move forward with whatever it takes to make that property available for bid.
Okay. Need a second?
Second.
All right. Motion by Crafter, second by Gowan. that we accept the attorney's advice and move forward whatever we need to in order to make the property available for bid. And then,
Hang on, just for the minutes,
Ma'am?
let's, do we know what the addresses of those 3 parcels are?
I was gonna ask the exact same question.
Point of
Where
order.
they're located. I
Point of
mean,
order.
we're asking to vote, do something.
Point of order.
it was 524 Walton Street.
Point of order.
I think that's his address.
Point of order.
Yes, sir, Mr. Kraft?
We are in the midst of a separate motion. Will you please carry that one first?
What now?
We are in the midst of another motion. Please carry that and then go back to that.
Okay, we need to carry that motion first and then go on. All right? Motion, all in favor? Put it in the
Aye.
chat section, please.
All right.
Give me just a second. Give me just a second.
I'm getting a thumbs up. Everybody, all right? And it's unanimous, Saka. All right, now, let's get the address, please. Thank you, Marvin, for correcting us on that.
Wait. Now wait.
Yes, sir.
Another point of order.
Jeez.
If I'm in order, I move that the list of seniors that are graduating this year be approved in the manner the ones were last year, and that we award them the certificate and the check.
Motion by Marvin, second by, okay, Bryant. Motion by Marvin, second by Bryant, that we approve making the award to the seniors that's graduating for 2020 and award them the certificate and the check. All in favor, let it be known by
Question,
question, Mr. Crafton?
The city administrator, his clerk, will do what is necessary to get the address of those folk and make sure that the messages are delivered, and a report comes to the council. That's my question.
Okay, and just one quick question from finance. What's gonna be the cost of this? You know, there's gotta be a cost, guys. Let's assess the
$25.
cost of this, but it's
$25
got to put it somewhere. And I
$25.
love what we're doing, but let's put the cost to it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. $25 per person, $100 all total. And as far as the address and giving it to them, the city administrator and Ms. Wright, as well as myself, and some others will be at the ceremony tomorrow. We will see to them getting it in their hands. All right, Ms. Frank.
Mr. wants to buy, is that needed? Is that the city's property?
It's city's property.
It belongs to the city.
It belongs to the city. Otherwise, we wouldn't be going that route. It belongs to the city. Miss Bryant's question was, is that the city's property that we are talking about deeding to Mr. Mitchell? And it does belong to the city.
Another point of order, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
You carry the motion on the seniors. Let's finish that first, please.
I said all in favor.
All right.
Opposers the same sign. No opposers, and the motion carries. Thank you, sir. Let's move on. All right, you make me lose my.
As it relates to Ms. Bryant's question, I think the attorney has done whatever research necessary for that. And her recommendation is based on the legality of what's going on. That ends there. That should end there.
Yes. Okay. All right. Can we move on now? Mr. Maddox, will you communicate with Mr. Mitchell or have Mr. Postel communicate with Mr. Mitchell and let him know where we are and what we decided at this point? Okay.
Will do.
All right, sir. All right, let's move on. The next is discussion of new business. Now, we divided your agenda into 2 sections. These are the things that we would kind of talk through in our work session on a different day, and decided not to have 2 different days meeting. You're not taking action on the first 9. Well, yeah, there is ones you got to pull down to take action on, but it's down at the bottom. We are just discussing it. Okay, the first of it is the creation of the Economic Development Board, and I sent you a copy of that way back. Now, I wanted to make mention of this because it seemed like it started sending some wrong messages roaming around in and out the community about it. We talked about this, we've been talking about it for about 3 years, creating an economic development board that's operating under the city's auspices. That's really the way it's supposed to be with the board that we already have, but for some reason it's gotten out of sync with what is supposed to happen. Some years ago, the city created another economic development board, if you can remember, when the One Georgia money was coming into Fort Valley in order to create Bluebird South. It had nothing to do with the DDA. It had nothing to do with the Development Authority. It had nothing to do with any of those. They created a new authority, a new board, so that we could make that money, to get that money coming in here. This is similar to what we're trying to do with the pass-through of the hotel. The hotel is going to be, that project is going to be approved by the DDA, our Downtown Development Authority. I have a new email as of today pertaining to that. And that email, this is not something that the council has to vote on. This is something that the Downtown Development Authority and the developer will do. However, when we have to go forward in the future with doing future development projects, we need a board, and it can be a part of the same, some of the same. We need a board that can meet, give us, as Mr. Crafter said, a report as to what's going on. It's got to be under the auspices of the city. Now, they had a problem with that executive director not wanting to be under the city administrator before, and it just created havoc. And it's just been roaming around and floating around now, and our project needs to go on. And so what we would like to do, there will be a ground lease approval with the DDA, with the present a developer out there for the hotel. Now that they are moving, they are pleased with our attorneys, and their attorneys have been working together with it, and they are pleased with it at this point. And so this has nothing to do with the present DDA. This is another board that we talked about that a lot of cities, a lot of other cities have. I went to the attorney and asked him if there was a way that we could create this, and you had before you a resolution creating that board. It suggested that you have 7, 3 of them serve for 4 years, and 4 of them serve for 2 years. You rotate it so that you know, they could be on and off. And of course, this is city appointed. This is a city appointed. All of our boards are city appointed. So what's your thoughts in regards to that?
Mayor Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
my question is this a paid board?
No, it will not be a paid board. No, ma'am.
Yeah,
But the executive director will be a city employee.
Mayor Williams, question.
It will be a city employee. When I say city employee, it will be a person that works under the city administrator, so that we would know exactly, because we don't get records of everything that we ought to get. All right.
A new position? Are we talking about a new position?
A new
hire?
Yes. Well, I don't know about new hire. It can be the one. It could be the one that y'all agreed to hire and couldn't hire. Yeah, and couldn't and didn't hire. It could be.
No, it will be an additional expense on our payroll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything?
Good.
I got a question.
Yes, I would like to just put a couple of my 2 cents in worth, if I may. And I've kept my distance between my brother and myself, who's in charge of the DDA. Now, number one, why do we need to create another board of people that we appointed? Number one, please, just listen to me, okay? Just listen to me. I've thought about this for a long time. I've cried about it. I'm really upset about a lot of things that's gone by. Our DDA is finishing up the high school project. And do you remember Karen Benson, our former city administrator? Well, you know what? She gave them a cease and desist order between trying to even compensate us for the damage from the hurricane. I mean, it was like the DD. Hold on, just
Jimmy,
please.
careful, careful.
Point of order, Mr. Jimmy, please, don't mention nobody's name, please.
Okay, I'm gonna say this.
Stop,
And
Jimmy.
from
You'll
the
get us all
word
in trouble.
go, no, I'm not. It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, now,
Today,
hey,
we got the high school project going. Hold on.
everybody can't talk at the same time, y'all.
Have the high school
Jimmy, let Jimmy finish.
going.
Time out a minute, Jimmy.
I've only said, I don't
Jimmy.
think we need another, we appointed these people. Now, you know what? What we have to do is explain to our voters why we had to give back a $856,000 grant that our DDA got for us, restore that historical building. Instead, we paid it in utility bills, and we paid it in what? Lawyer fees. I'm
Okay.
telling you,
Can I address that, Jimmy?
happen. Listen, and there's so many things that I think that are really wrong. I'm telling you, I'm being specific. Why do we need another board? What are they going to do now? They're going to say, well, your other board got this money.
Miss Saka,
What are
can
we going to do?
mute him a minute and let me address that. Mute
No,
Barnes, please.
you can't do that. You can't do that, man.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah,
You
I'm
can't-
supposed
you
to be,
can't-
I'm supposed to be,
The floor
I'm
right
not-
now belongs to Councilman
I'm
Bond.
not in charge of the meeting right now, but,
Hey,
but
no.
hey,
The
let
floor
me
belongs to, you recognize
you,
Councilman
Mr.
Bond.
Pastor, please.
Recognize Councilman Bond.
Thank you.
Let me address Mr. Barnes's, what he said. No, ma'am. No, sir. I can't let that go out there and say it, that it was one person that caused us to have to send a $800 and something grant back.
No.
This started back even before Miss Vincent was our city administrator and before I was mayor. This was back during when Mayor Stumbo was the mayor, Jeff Collins was on this board, and what they were trying to do with that building, that Norfolk Southern said we wouldn't have anything around it except the building itself, and we wouldn't have no parking place, we didn't have no place for no museum and all that kind of stuff, and then somebody had to move it in order to do that. That's when the money that the match started, the county started saying, no, we would not provide the match. And then the DDA would not listen to mayor and council on what they decided they wanted to do with it. Mayor and council stepped back, and we've been stepping back ever since. Now, I have stepped back since they hired another city attorney. And I said if we had to pay a city attorney, it would be the ones, because we have city attorneys wherein there are 6 or 7 that's a part of that firm. And if we're going to have to pay for things to happen to be done with the DDA, we will do it with the ones that we choose. That's what's been going on with that. That has nothing to do, let's don't muddy the water with wrong things. Okay? Unmute Mr. Barnes, please.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but it's wrong. It's
Yeah.
totally appropriate. It's wrong. Okay?
Okay.
It is. It really is. I'm just saying that all I can say, and let this council go away with this last few words of wisdom. I go to these classes for the GMA for a big reason. And I go to how can I affect, how we can, make downtown Fort Valley a better place. How can we do this? And all these questions I asked, I said, well, you have a uniqueness. And I go to all the different aspects that we look at, and this particular uniqueness, we would have been the only town in the city of the state to own all 3 of our railroad buildings, okay? At the cost of $200,000. Now you take a look back at what the $200,000 that we could have raised or done if it only been the right project for the people, okay? In my opinion, I thought it was the right project for the people. I got on city council back in the early 90s because
Okay.
I thought that historical preservation was the key to the survival of this city. And the reason we had the
Jimmy, we
tribal
owe it
house
to
is one of the
everybody.
big
Would
reasons.
you be able to chime in on that?
So guys, and so I'm just
We owe
gonna
it to
say,
everybody.
and I'll hush very quick. But you know, the bottom line is, guys, we dropped the ball and we got this. We'll be known as the town that let it go. Instead of people saying, hey, let's go for tourism. Hey man, I heard they're the only town in the state that's got all 3 railroad buildings right by the festival park, right by what we want to do down here. How cool is that? But you know what? I guess
All right. Jimmy,
whatever.
I'm gonna,
However, you know,
I'm
just
gonna ask that you
all I'd say is that, you know what really upsets me, been here, I'll be on June the 6th, be the anniversary of my mom's death and 50 years of me being in Fort Valley. And I've given my heart and soul to this town. And all I can say is that I see something like this falling in front of us. It really makes me hang my hat low.
and
It
we
does.
think, and
It
we
does.
think, okay, now, will you mute Mr. Barnes and let's go down to Mr. To Miss Juanita, and you're gonna have to come a little bit closer so they can hear you.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until other information is gathered.
Did y'all hear what she said? She's making a motion to table the issue until more information is gathered. Can I get a second?
I'll second that, Mr. O'Neill.
Who was that? Mr. Cook? Alonso?
That
Mario?
was me.
Okay.
That was me.
Motion by Bryant, second by Mario, that we table this until more information is gathered. Is there any question on this issue?
Can you hear me?
Who said, can I hear you?
This is Crafton.
Okay, yes.
This is a matter understood for discussion. Until every councilman has had an opportunity to discuss. If you don't have anything to say, no problem with that. But until every councilman has an opportunity to discuss it, number one, it's wrong to mute anybody on the city council as long as we're not muted in council meeting. So don't mute nobody on the Zoom meeting. That's irregular. But
Do
until
it in a
everybody,
council meeting after you talk 5 minutes, Mr. Crafter. We do it in a council meeting. It's just person
hey,
to person instead
this
of.
works. If it takes Jimmy Barnes 10 minutes to explain himself, then we got to have the respect to give him that 10 minutes.
I mean, we got to give you 20.
Oh.
Well, anyway,
That's got a concern.
okay, I think it's okay to table this until the next time. We really waiting for the vote on it until the next section of this meeting anyway. My stuff keep.
I got something I need to say, man.
Okay, who brought something? Come on. All right, sir.
Number one, this is an economic development. And we discussed these things, and what came forth from the committee is not what we see in this resolution. What the committee decided was to establish first an economic development department under which all of these agencies will be an umbrella under the direction of the city administrator. And number two, as it relates to the DDA, before we create another budgeted expense, and it does not end with the director. It has other allied expenses built in that we right now can afford to encounter. Therefore, we suggested that we approve the concept under the terms of what is developed as the Economic Development Department. And at that time, we will discuss what Jimmy Barnes was just talking about, which is whether it is better for us to look on the inside of what we already have and see that we have an agency in-house already that can perform the same duties that the Development Authority will perform if we have that in place, let's assign those tasks to a DDA or whoever else we have. You know what I'm saying? That is what that is what came out of the committee. And number two, as I say, I wasn't there. With my understanding that in last year, an agreement was made that the mayor would not attend any committee meeting. I made reference to that, and I moved on to another meeting. And what I see here is that this is one of the reasons why. What came out of the committee was not what we said, Mayor, but what you wanted. And it's not right if you're going to let the committee process work, let the committee process work. The bottom line is, even in the new charter that you recommended, you give the city council its power, and the city council's power is to legislate. That means that we create stuff, including laws and this stuff here. Now, what you talking about right now, this council has not created, and it's not fair for you to keep going to the attorney, which we talked about earlier, and costing us money on stuff that has not been legislated by the council first, and then turn on. And I hope the attorney is there because, you can't keep you about anything associated with her office. But when it comes down to commit to these kinds of actions, there must be an understanding that the proper committee before you start working on a project that the mayor bring to you, because if we didn't create it, then it's not fair for me to have to vote on it.
I think you basically said the same thing we just said. Let's table it until we give time to talk about it more. And there's a motion on the table. All who is in favor of tabling this until another time, let it be known. I don't know how to tell you to do it. By raising your hand, I'll say aye. Jimmy says aye. Who else? Who else? Table it.
Aye for me, man.
Okay, that's on, Mario says table. Carla? Okay, Carla went away. Who else? Alonzo? You abstained? Who abstained?
Yeah.
Who, as Marvin?
Yeah.
Okay, Marvin abstained, Miss Saka. Y'all, we gotta do something that she can take the minutes from, so please respond.
All right.
All right?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Aye.
Aye, to table.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
All right, Saka, you got them all? All right. All right, then the motion carries. All right, now let's go to the next item. Can you pull the agenda back up, please? Because you went past it. I gotta have it in my hand. Okay. All right. All right. The next on what we are talking about was the first reading of the charter, but it's really not the first reading, it's the second reading of the charter. What I'm told is, now we did the first reading at our retreat. Okay, thank you. We did our first reading at our retreat, and we spent about an hour on it then. If you want to do a second reading, we can do that later. But in June, the legislature goes back into session. If we're going to try to get, and I think the crossover day was almost passed or pretty close to passing. If we're going to try to do anything with the revision of the charter, it has to go to the legislature before they go back in session. If we're going to try to get anything done with it this particular session, we need to be moving on it. I think they will have gone back in session before our next face-to-face meeting is. What is your pleasure on the revised charter?
Mayor Williams?
Mm-hmm.
There's 8 or 9 places where it uses the word alderman, and I would like it to change to city councilman.
Yes. I think that was brought up when we talked about it in the retreat. It can get changed.
It was.
Who did we talked about it, Mayor?
Everybody that was at the retreat. You just weren't there.
Okay.
Okay.
A retreat is not a meeting.
But it
Yes,
was
it
it was a scheduled time. Yes, it was a meeting. All right. Anybody else?
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We discussed the powers of the mayor for us to city administrator hiring and firing. Was that gonna be corrected from what I'm looking at?
So the power of the mayor,
And the city administrator, whether he has the power to hire and fire? Cause what I'm looking at, only you have that power right now.
no. That was supposed to have been delegated to whoever we delegated to. That's the city administrator. So-
No, I mentioned that at the retreat about that part of it.
Okay, all right.
But it did
Let me
not
say something about that.
Okay, go ahead.
If you look at that section 3.15, what it says is that y'all can pass a separate ordinance that gives the city manager powers. And so you can change it locally without having to go back before the assembly.
Okay,
Miss Hayden, you got a real bad echo over there.
go back up.
I'm gonna get off my video.
Go up to 1.5. I mean 3.15.
I'm gonna use my earphones.
Okay. Moving too fast.
I just- again,
Okay. What that
Uh,
says is the mayor may appoint the city administrator subject to confirmation by the council. The duties of the city administrator shall be established by ordinance and may include certain powers and duties assigned to the mayor as provided in section 2.12 of this charter, provided, however, the duties of 2.12 and 8 shall be exclusively reserved to the mayor and may not be delegated to the city administrator. That gives you the flexibility to, if you wanna change that without going back and changing the whole charter. That's what that's,
question,
yes.
what's wrong with the way it is now?
I don't think, I don't know. I don't have a problem with the way it is now, that part of it.
Why are you changing it?
Huh?
Why are you changing it?
I didn't change it.
You just said
I
Well-
didn't change it. It was brought to you. It was suggested and brought to you.
this is written down in the charter the way it is now.
Yeah.
You said it, you didn't see nothing wrong with that, you didn't see you changing it. Here again, let me say, even though you talked about it in the retreat, it does not become official council business until the council has had a chance to deal with it in a legitimate council meeting. Here again, I get tired of spending money with these lawyers
I disagree.
doing stuff that the council has not had a chance to legislate on.
Disagree. I
We did
disagree.
not-
If it's an advertised council meeting and you plan to take action, I don't care if
And I
you
think
Detroit,
this is Mayor Williams.
I don't care if you go to Detroit to have a meeting. If it's advertised that you are going to take action, you can take action.
No, hey,
Just because you don't want to go, that does not make it illegal.
I'm not. Did you take any official action in Black Shear?
Yeah, you can if you wanted to.
Take any
It was
official action?
advertised to do that. Yes.
Did you take any official action in the retreat?
We
This is just a resolution, so it only needs one vote. So whether or not they took
Answer
official
the question.
action in the retreat.
Answer the question, will you?
If we had agreed on
This
it,
is
we
just a
would have taken
resolution
it.
that just requires one
Official
vote.
action. Did you take any official action in Black Shear? Answer the question. Yes
No,
or
we
no?
didn't take it because we didn't agree on it. Miss Juanita,
It's like a work. It is not
go to his.
council meeting. It is a work session. That's what a retreat is. It should be advertised, great it was, but a retreat is a work session.
Okay, what's your preference?
Hey, Mayor, before you go, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So, what's wrong with the charter now that I guess we need to change it this year? Because I know
Y'all spent all that time. Y'all spent all of that time complaining about the charter when we were into it with the utility commission. They done took that part out. There was some other things that needed to be changed while you were changing that doesn't deal with utility commission. It's almost like you got to have something to fight about, and then when you don't have it, and y'all don't want to deal with it. So if
Well, the reason I said that is because we made a fuss we made a fuss about them going to the legislature this year, and I think we probably just need to step back and, like I said, we all need to meet together and figure out how we want this chart to look moving forward, and not just rush it.
make a motion and let's be through with it.
Well, I move that
All
we
right.
table it to further discussion.
I got another question.
Uh,
Got a question?
There's a motion. We need to have a second.
Any-
Got a motion on the floor.
and then we'll get.
Now's not the time for discussion.
Ms.
Do we have a
Hooks,
second?
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Ms. Hooks, Mel Williams,
Wait a minute, before we get to the question, is there a second?
may I address Ms. Hooks?
We're doing parliamentary procedure.
There's there's a motion.
May I address
Got a
Ms.
motion
Hooks?
on the floor, and it's been by a second now anyway. You can come back and do it again. He motioned that we table it, and nobody wants to second it, so.
I motion that we second.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Allen seconded it, Mr.
Okay,
Allen
so
did.
now you can have your discussion. What are you going to say, Mr. Crafter?
Motion by Lamario and seconded by Allen that we table the issue dealing with the revised chart. All in
Yes.
favor?
Any
Now,
discussion?
is there a
Let's
question?
see, any discussion? Now's the time for discussion.
That's your question.
All right, hey, the only thing I got to say is, it's apparent to me that as opposed to advising us legally, I don't appreciate being interrupted when I'm trying to get a councilman or the man to answer a question. Hey, if you would, out of courtesy, basic decent courtesy, when I'm making a point, let me get my answer before you talk.
Appointed our attorneys, Mr. Crafter. There's no need to be rude. We appointed our attorneys to.
Okay, I've got to get off this call in
Parliamentary.
5 minutes. So if you want me to be a part of your executive session, then we need to move this along.
Excuse me, Ms. Hayden. We appointed our attorneys to be our parliamentarian. If you're not gonna listen to the parliamentarian and you ain't gonna listen to me, then doggone it, let's go home. If you're gonna listen to somebody,
Hey, we just been parliamentary. This is not a parliamentary procedure item, man.
it was a parliamentary procedure that you motion and then you do a second and then you ask them. Now it's over and it's tabled. All were in favor of tabling, and let's move on. Please.
No, you need to call for the vote.
All right, call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known. Aye for me, aye for Juanita.
Aye.
Table it, yes. All in favor, table it.
Aye.
Okay, Carla,
I from Carla.
got two more.
Aye from Alonzo.
Aye from Alonzo,
I'm Crafty.
aye from Crawford, we got one more. Mario made the motion, but he still got to vote on it.
I said aye.
Aye, all right, that's unanimous. Let's do things right, all right? All right. And go on.
It looks like Clinton Mitchell's back. You want to give him a minute?
But, okay, Mr. Mitchell, are you there? Mr. Mitchell, Stalker, would you unmute him, please? Clinton Mitchell,
Yes,
unmute Mr.
I'm here.
Mitchell. Okay, good
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Oh, all right. To keep Raphael from having to get in touch with you and give you that, we have to declare that property as surplus first, and then there's a process
Okay.
to go to wherein you have to be able to bid on it. And chances, I don't know if anybody's gonna bid on it, but it's the law that we have to get somebody to bid on it. And we will do that in the next meeting that we have. If you would make your bid and give it to the city administrator, let us declare it surplus in our meeting, and we've already voted on that. And so now you can do a bid in writing to him, and we'll discuss it at the next meeting. Is that okay? Huh?
Okay.
Not yet.
What you mean not yet?
Who said that yet?
Process. We have to go through the process of declaring the property.
Advertise it, Lynn. That's right. He's right.
No. What that word I'm looking for, Mr. Ralph? We got to declare the property, in excess, something like that.
Hey, Mr. Crawford, Mr. Mathis, he got clear directions, and I think he can help us here.
Let's move
Is that
on.
right, Mr. Mathis?
That's true. That's true. Let's move on. All right, Mr. Mitchell, you got that understanding though, right?
Yes, I have the understanding.
All right, all right. All right, let's move on to the next item. And that will be just an FYI. We talked about that shortly. I got an email from Mr. Barnes today and said that he had just spoken with their attorney and they are good with the terms of the ground lease. He said now we need to get an MOU finalized so we can move forward, and both attorneys are working on that as we speak. And he said he wanted us to know that the BDA is in full support of this project and so forth. So that's got that. All right. And then for the face covering, for the FYI, we were sent a draft, a suggestion for a face covering ordinance. And I want to, is the chief still there? Chief still there? And Raphael, if they are still, huh?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. Want y'all to know how difficult that's going to be to enforce face coverings everywhere all over town. Now, we're putting some signs out in front of City Hall that says you must have a face mask in order to enter. But I do want you to know, if we're making it a requirement, we got to have some on hand to give them if they don't have it. Okay, yes, sir. Chief.
I've been studying this issue, and I'll let Ms. Hayden speak to it as well. There's several constitutional issues that are in play with this.
Okay.
It would be my recommendation that we strongly recommend that people wear masks. I really don't think we have the constitutional grounds to force people to wear masks. Several municipalities do the issue now. So, and there's no precedent that I know of, unless Ms. Hayden knows some, that we can look to the guide. You know,
I think
1918. Yes.
Yeah. The chief is right. I mean, this is kind of just a crazy situation, but we've already, and we can talk more about this in executive session, some additional reasons why the chief and I might be reluctant, but you know, we know that there has been a lawsuit against the city by a crazy person who was upset because he was filming in City Hall. And so I think there are people out there who believe, you know, I disagree with them, but they believe that wearing a mask is a violation of their First Amendment rights or government overreach. And we've already been targeted by one of these crazy First Amendment people for a different lawsuit. And I would hesitate to do something that would open it up more. I mean, my opinion is that it is our property, and so if we want to do it, we can. But even though I don't want us to be the ones who are in court having to defend that belief.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask a question? If they come into City Hall, can we take their temperature?
Well,
can we do that?
That's a good question as well. Byron had a situation the other day where they asked the lady to take the temperature, and she refused and said that the temperature machine causes brain damage.
Yeah, I mean, people are crazy. This has brought out all the craziness in people. Yeah, let's think about why people are coming into City Hall right now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll leave that one alone.
Question.
I think that infrared digital thermometer is the one that she's talking about that would cause brain damage, and of course that's the one that they just sent me today too. But I got an ear one too. But I take mine. We take ours every time we come every morning. All of the employees take ours, but I don't want to use my ear one for nobody else's ear. I do have a digital forehead thermometer too. So if we don't want to do that, we'll leave that one alone. Yes, sir. But ask for masks. Yes, sir.
You talk in terms of this being a regular day-to-day activity. The guys walking in City Hall was a regular day-to-day activity. We're in the midst of a health pandemic. and it's still, until for some people, is a declared emergency.
Yeah.
This was one of the reasons why I developed the ordinance on emergencies that will give us the authority to implement public health safety initiatives. If we had an ordinance in place, and this is a public emergency, a pandemic, or some sort of declared emergency, either by the governor, the president, or the city, then the terms of the emergency ordinance, in my opinion, will supersede all the other stuff, with one exception. Everybody in this country is a free citizen. If you choose not to wear a mask, prerogative.
That being said, on Tuesday after Memorial Day, City Hall will be open back up for full business. Everybody coming in and just doing whatever business they need to do. The county is doing the same thing, and I think Byron is doing the same thing. Some of the restaurants are open back up for sit-down dining services. And so we will continue to be encouraging our people to wear the mask, keep the social distancing, and all of these things. Continue to do that. Now, I want to ask this. We need to do something about the public use of the restroom in here. We have in the ladies' restroom, we have one restroom that the ladies can keep a key to, but everybody use the common area in there. The same thing in the men. Now, I'm gonna ask for the legal authority on this. Can we lock those restrooms?
Yes.
You can. Okay. All right, Chewy, are you there? Chewy, you still there? Chewy? Okay. We want to of course, for Tuesday, we need to get locks, change the locks on those restrooms, and we would probably need to put out a sign out here that says no public restroom and go to this pandemic.
Wait a minute. This is a public building.
Well, that's what I just asked about the legal part of it. That's what I asked for, the legal part of it.
Hey, I don't care what the legal part. Let me say this before I move on. I am totally dissatisfied with the level of representation that this city has gotten from Perry Ellis and his associates, i.e. Coleman and the rest of his lawyers, as it relates to representing City of Polk Valley. I don't want to hear until the council acts anything about what the lawyers say. And my position is this: if this is a public building, two things: you got senior citizens, you got people who got bladder conditions, you got all kinds of problems, where the general public will need access to those bathrooms. I don't think it's right to close them off or lock them up and deny them that right.
If that, we need a private restroom for the employees, Mr. Crafter, because they need to be protected too. You don't know what people are going to be bringing in and out of them restrooms.
Until you do something to create that, Mayor, we can't close off the only restroom facility that we have in City Hall to the public.
Well, I'll open mine up and let y'all come in, let the employees come into mine, because I got a private one. I'm not going in behind anybody else.
Hey, that'll
okay, sir.
That'll work. That'll work.
All right.
Work. Let them come in yours, and people say they will. The other concern I had is this. Now, the governor told me how many on this council is 60 years old or over.
I am.
I'm not
council, but I am.
The governor told me and everybody in this age bracket.
And on June the 6th, I will have been in this town 50 years.
All right. Hey, what I'm saying, the governor told me, and everybody like me who's over 60, is shelter in place until June 15th. Which means that if you have anything in City Hall that involves the council, you ain't gonna have nobody there.
Our next council meeting is gonna be June the 18th or something like that. It's after
hey, if the governor lifts his restraint on
we'll still be on Zoom. If he doesn't lift it, we'll still be on Zoom.
The governor of Florida just extended his for another 90 days, so we don't know what they're gonna do
Well,
until the word. 15th is the earliest date. So you go ahead on.
that happens when it happens. Okay. All right. The next on our agenda, we covered that, right? The next on our agenda is the renaming of Festival Park.
Administrator,
Sir,
she's trying to talk and she is muted.
who was?
Carla Gowan.
Carla, where are you?
Marvin, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I said, if you want the public bathrooms to be open, who do you think should have to clean them? Are you going to come do it?
We got somebody to do that every day, every week.
We don't have nobody in here every day.
Not for public, no.
One time
We
a
got
week.
somebody to clean up City Hall.
One time a week.
Lock them up.
More money.
They got a contract to clean up City Hall. If you, hey, I tell you what, to be fair, you want to bring it to a vote, take it to a vote. I vote against it.
Well, here's what happens.
Go ahead on.
One time a week, and one time a week does not cover what you would have going in and out of those bathrooms. Now,
All right.
somebody would need to go in there and spray every time somebody go in and come out, and clean every time somebody go in and come out. There's protocol for the judicial situation for the city court and all of that. They got a protocol for that. That protocol does not cover what you need to do with the bathrooms.
All right. Can I respond? What I'm hearing then, and I have all the respect for the case center and the work that they do. But what you're saying is that what they do is not adequate for the needs of janitorial services in City Hall.
And bring them every day.
Older folk, remember Charlie? Remember Charlie?
Yep. I remember.
You know Charlie.
Contract for once a week, so you're gonna pay them more to come every day.
Do you know Charlie? Do you remember Charlie?
I remember.
Micro managing. That is not what we do.
Thank you. Raphael handled that. We either lock the doors or get somebody to clean them every day. That's the best way to do it. Let's move on.
Do you remember Charlie?
The naming of Festival Park.
Wait a minute. See. What was Charlie's last name? Juanita.
Think about Charlie. Now Charlie going on.
All right, but he was there every day cleaning up City Hall.
Like Charlie Ridley.
Yeah.
The mistake might have been made when you move from Charlie to the case center. What I suggest is to have the city administrator evaluate the cost of having a entry-level employee.
That before Tuesday, Mr. Crafton. Well, yeah, like you say, call and have a one-on-one conversation with the city administrator about that. I remember when Charlie was here, and he did do a good job. He didn't have nothing else to do. So let's talk to the city administrator about
he was cleaning the bathroom every time somebody went in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. The next on our agenda is to talk about the renaming of the festival park, and that's on you, Mr. Crafton.
Yeah. If the cost of hiring somebody is better than the cost or equal to the cost of the case center.
And we're fixing to skip the other two items if you're gonna continue on that one.
No, I'm through with that. You can't cut me off like that, man, will you?
Yeah.
You did that.
I'm going today, not tomorrow. Yes, sir.
If the cost equals to or is better than what you pay for your contractor, then have the city administrator evaluate that and report to us on the right thing to do. That's all I'm saying. These are the information. As it relates to the renaming of the festival park, we've talked about several things, and as I say, the focus of what's developing in the park is on a memorial plain. See what I'm saying? We got the Vietnam Memorial, and this is a part of the economic development platform too. We need to have in that park a walk through history of the city of Fort Valley, starting with that sign in front of City Hall that has the founders on it. We need one of those in Memorial Park. We
Yeah,
need
minus the railroad station that we would have had.
all right. We need
Come on, Mr. EDA.
we need something that catalogs the backbone of the economics in Fort Valley, which is the peach industry. I've asked former Councilman Lane to put together a listing of all the old farmers, the first farmers, the Rattlers and all those folks, so that we can have a little miniature peach down there with all of the peach farmers on it as backbone of economics in the city of Fort Valley, including all the packing houses, the Lloyd Facts and all them folks. Hey, hold on a minute. Hey.
What is this?
Also,
what is this? Three-ring circus?
Also, something that commemorates all of the original businesses in Fort Valley. And because of the nature of the Superfund site, a memorial wall that would have now Williams, Marshall's children, and everybody who, and this is not to say that anybody calls it, but most everybody in Fort Valley in our age and with a 30-year exposure history has been impacted by some sort of contamination. And the memorial wall would list the names of all those folk in this town who have sadly died. And I'm not saying that Woolfolk or Bluebird is to blame for that, but something has been wrong in this town to cause all the problems that we have, and the people who paid those prices memorialized in a memorial wall are the place. And whatever we decide, if we decide over there where the Vietnam thing is, if you want to make that quadrant the memorial side, then let's go on and do that and get to work on that. But the first order of business is to change the name from Festival Park to Memorial Park.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that suggestion. Is that what the entire council would want to do? When you say Memorial Park instead of a festival park, then that kind of suggests that it's like Andersonville.
Right.
It's Andersonville. So to have anything that brings anything into this town that people go and enjoy themselves, they kind of feel a little bit different about it instead of Memorial Park. But that's just my opinion. All right. Anybody else got an opinion? All right.
I would
Mayor
love.
Williams.
Wait a minute. Okay. Let Juanita had her hand up, and nobody can see her. Juanita and then Zook. All right.
Okay. I talked about the festival park over there where the Veterans Memorial Bench and all that is the trees to put up there, and Chewy has looked into that. We also talked about a little spot for Vietnam veterans, which it's a rock that only the Vietnam Veterans Memorial have. Like World War II have a certain secret sign, and all of the different wars have different structures. And I would like to see whatever the Vietnam structure is, we have one over at Festival Park. We have said that we will put the willow trees out there. And Chewy looked into it, and the willow trees is going to be hard to maintain. But I still want the willow trees out there. And I've talked to some of the members of the
the Vietnam vets.
American Legion.
American Legion.
Legion, thank you. And they want, the willow trees out there. They say that's the significance of da 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 da. Also, we talked about that, Raphael, what is it called for Vietnam? What kind of rock is that?
The Vietnam War Memorial.
Yeah, it's some kind of rock with shiny Vietnam, and it's got the date on there. It's got the year it began and the year it ended. There's no names on there. Because they were talking about putting the ones like the Fitzgerald boy, and I told them, I say, I disagree with that because
you leave out somebody. Yeah, you leave out somebody.
So we just the ones that serve.
Table and Preston, Henry, the Preston boy. Yeah, no problem with that.
Those are the ones that we know, Marvin, but there are other ones that we might know, or Chewy might know.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, and they do things like that down at the Air Force Museum down at in Warner Robins. They have something every year, and if anybody has somebody or a relative that has served in the war and got lost and all that kind of stuff, then they add those names. But every year more names get added because they left out people.
I would not like that.
Yeah, I mean either. Can we leave that in the hands of the Public Works Committee to come up with a suggestion? All right, Mr. Alonzo.
I have a parliamentarian question. Can we move on to executive session where Hayden can leave?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Just one little quick comment. Seeing as how the festival park, I have been in charge or been part of the entire construction and everything that's been about Festival Park for the last 12 years. So that makes me feel pretty good. So the word festival, and I think we talked about this before, there was a time that we wanted to call it Stumbo Park or whatnot. And you know what? We didn't do that because it would upset so many different people. So we wanted to make sure that the different committees that were formed back and we were dealing with Canada and all that everybody would feel good about a day. And the word festival just says the word festival. And we can designate certain parts of the park and whatnot for Vietnam vets. My granddaddy was in World War I in France. My dad's brother flew off the carriers in World War II. Dad flew in Korea. So, you know, let's talk about the other stuff. We don't need to change it. Festival Park means festival. It came because it was a blight area. And for all the years that we figured out of what we wanted to do at that place, you know what? Festival Park, in my opinion, just says, hey, festival. And we can put different parts of it to give other people the recognition they deserve. That's all I'm saying.
Consensus to turn that over to the Public Works Committee to come up with a plan for doing the memorial side of it, the Wall of Fame or whatever you want to call it. Can we do that? All right.
One last statement, Mayor.
Well, we need to do something to let Hayden go. She's got
one last statement.
Executive session.
One last statement, Mayor.
Okay.
As I say, that was not a blighted area. That was a Superfund site, and it is documented that thousands of people in Fort Valley have died because of potential exposure to the chemicals from that site. And there ain't nothing festival about my daddy and my mama dying because of this stuff that came from Wolf or Bluebird. Only thing I'm saying, and I have I understand you, Jimmy, and I will submit to that if we can have an awning on the south side of the gazebo that identifies that southwest corner as the Memorial Park, and then do those things that will attract people. Somebody, hey, well, this is the history of Fort Valley. These are the peach growers. I don't know if the record was there.
Can I get a motion? motion to go into executive session. Ms. Bryant, can I get a second?
I'd like to make a
Second.
motion that we go into executive session.
Second by Bryant. All right.
Second.
Hang
All
on
in
just
favor?
a second. Let's talk about, because I know Victor's on here and there's maybe a couple of other, there's two other ones that aren't identified. I guess one is Miss Juanita probably, but we're going to leave Chewy in here in this meeting with y'all. And then all of the council members and Raphael and Chief, we need you to, are going to hang up on this call. And we're going to go into another Zoom call that Saka emailed out, and Raphael just emailed it again with executive session. So we're going to go into that. And Chewy, if you'll stay in here and just Raphael, will that work? He's got to be the host. I guess Saka, can you open up another computer? How can we make this work?
I'll be the host on this one.
Okay. All right. So Saka is going to stay in here, and Raphael's going to be the host on the other one. Will that work?
Yes.
Okay. So we need
And then
to emails and get the new Zoom information.
everybody's got
everybody
that
emailed.
already.
All right.
Yeah. And so, all right. So everybody hang up and get on the other one.
Before we close it out, Mayor,
What's that?
I think that more respect needs to be to all council members, to allow them to at least complete their statement before you jump in and decide to go somewhere else. That's only a common courtesy, and it continues to be overlooked when it comes down to the council trying to express his view.
Okay, it's going to take a minute for us to go into something else. It'll take a few minutes if you got to go potty.
Hey, Mayor, we need to vote still. I think I interrupted us before we voted.
I thought we did. All in favor of going into executive session? Yes? Yes.
Yes.
Opposed is the same sign? And it's unanimous. All right? It's going to take us a minute to switch over anyway. All right? Let's do that. That means you got to leave that meeting and go to another.